Our cars are our lifeblood. We love them. They get us from point A to point B, and it just gives us that little bit of independence. Today we're going to be talking about stolen vehicles, places where we've retrieved these vehicles and the heartache of some of the people who we've returned these vehicles to. And stolen vehicles are really a hot topic at the moment. They happen on a regular basis and are taken by some of the lowest people that I think currently walk the planet. Some are more unique than others and just leave the brain asking what the actual fuck. Today I'm going to be concentrating on a Toyota Land Cruiser that was found by a member of the public and the retrieval process. Let's get hooked. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode, and as mentioned in the intro there, I'm going to be highlighting a particular Land Cruiser that was stolen, and it was completely stripped and dumped in the Wombat State Forest. And it even came with bullet holes in the bonnet, which is just freaking amazing to me. And as also mentioned, this vehicle was found by somebody who was four-wheel driving in the bush. And he just came across it and he took some personal initiative. He's made a couple of phone calls, and at the end of the day we've ended up, recovering the car. So look, I've done my fair share of these in the scrub, and each one presents its own unique challenge. This one, though, was a bit of a tear-jerker when I found out a bit of background. So now, found the vehicle by way of Facebook. I was in a group of four-wheel drivers, and as I said, this guy, he did come across it while he was out four-wheel driving on this particular day. Once I got some details and so forth, I went out and had a look at the vehicle myself, and I was just pretty much gobsmacked, but I'll get back to that in a second. So I did make contact with the owner, and basically, he gave me some background on the car, and he sent me some photos, and I sent him some photos back, and I thought he was going to burst into tears right then and there. So I'll give you a photo of what it used to look like. So you can see here, beautiful looking vehicle, really. It's like sensational looking little cruiser, and they would have had a lot of fun on this thing. No two ways about it. The thing that sort of gave even me a lump in my throat is that this was a father-son project, and they'd spent quite a bit of time rebuilding this thing and getting it up and going so they could enjoy it. Obviously, they love their four-wheel driving, and I was when he asked if he could see some photos of how I found it. I was almost not going to send him one, but I ended up sending him this one, which is how I found it. So it's like I said, it's actually quite sad. So, but going back to everything, once I found the car, and I made contact with the police, and had an officer come out, and he's done all his checks and so forth, and he's checked all the VIN, and so the VIN was correct for the vehicle, and the car was still outstanding at that stage. So he's done a few bits and pieces, and that's how I got a hold of the owner, actually. The officer gave me some of the owner's details, phone number. Didn't give me his address, but gave me his phone number so I could contact him straight away, and that's how we got in touch. So but you'll see here, and I'll just show you a couple of quick videos there. It was pretty much like in the thick of it, right? So it was pretty much nipped and tucked out of the way, so as not to be found. I mean, basically I had to climb up a goat track. It wasn't very steep, but it was a lot of ducking and weaving and so forth before I got to the car. So, but still, again, getting back to the owner, it was a heartbreaking phone call, and yeah, look, I don't know what else to sort of say about that. It's sort of every person's nightmare, I guess, having their car stolen and then found, but to actually have a car that you've worked on and you've built up with your son, I think is very sad. So luckily, though, he was fully insured, and I was able to get a claim number from him, and then that was enabled me to go out and retrieve the vehicle. Now, this was classed as a crash tow, so you can see in the front there is impact damage. So I was able to, like I said, get a claim number from the insurance company, give them all the details of where it was, give them all the details of what was involved in getting it out, and so forth. But again, when I mentioned that the vehicle had bullet holes, like it had bullet holes in the bonnet, right, and you can see there. So they've dumped the vehicle and they've taken shots at this thing, and like, who fucking does that? Like, I don't get it. Anyway, did a tow authority. I got the claim number, and I was able to speak on the owner's behalf, so which was great. So now, believe it or not, in these circumstances, insurance companies love us, right? Because we've got all our ducks in a row. We've done all the hard work for them, and they can cross this vehicle off their books as found. So now, further to that, we'd quoted a price because it had already been out there previously, and they were happy with that. They sent a letter of authorization to us, and we were able to get everything underway. So it's probably important to note that I don't usually quote prices before I've done a job like this, but because it had already been out there, I knew what I was going to be in for, and I knew what I was going to need. And so that sort of made things a little bit easier. So the owner also gets closure too, as sad as this particular one was. But really, at the end of the day, there is somewhat a win for all parties involved. So out I went the next day. Now I took my tilt tray, and I took my four-wheel drive on the back of the truck, and I took a car trailer. So some people would actually say, well, why don't you just take the, four-wheel drive out there with your, with the trailer on the back? You could have done it that way. Well, there's sort of a bit of a reason for that, right? So if anybody's tried to pull a wreck onto a car trailer, it's quite easy. Not easy to do when it's just your four-wheel drive, mind you. Trying to winch something onto a car trailer. But, if you keep going, try to get the car off the car trailer, that can pose a real problem. So it was going to be easier for me to get the vehicle on the back of the truck and off the back of the truck, and then just drive my four-wheel drive onto the car trailer and then tow it all back. But having the truck also gives me extra equipment if I need it. And that's always a bonus. So basically, if you will, I kind of over-engineered for the whole thing, and that's important because you need to be able to do that. So, and then as you can see here, once I've got it all hooked up and so forth, where it was, I've basically dragged it. I've had to drag it out onto the main dirt road because there was no way I was going to get the truck up to where it was, and there was actually no way I was even going to get the trailer up there. A few trees I had to duck and weave and so forth, but I've dragged it out, and I've managed to get it onto the back of the truck and get it sorted, and basically everybody was happy at the end of the day. So and that's what it's all about, getting the job done properly first time, and completed, and away you go. So it took me about 4.5 hours, I think, to get it out. Once I'd got out there, got myself set up, got it dragged out onto the truck and so forth. So about 4.5 hours. So what's the takeaway from this? Well, look, obviously make sure you've got full comprehensive insurance, because a job like this, it can get into the thousands columns really, really quickly, right? So the insurance company in this particular job was ComInsure, and I've got to tell you, they were fantastic. Like, when I was talking to them and stuff, and I even communicated with the owner later on about how good they were, but once I communicated with them, let them know what was involved and so forth, they were really, really good. They had no problems with it at all, and they were just happy the vehicle was found. The next great thing was a member of the public decided to be proactive when he came across it, right? So many people don't even bother, but it's really important. Like, if there's something nagging at you, it doesn't feel quite right, or a vehicle like that's just sitting there out of nowhere, make a phone call. It doesn't hurt. Look for a VIN number and contact your nearest police station. And just see if the vehicle is stolen. I mean, you don't know. That vehicle could be wanted for a range of things: ram raids, or heaven forbid, maybe even a murder. Maybe, I mean, that's worst case scenario. But you just don't know. It could be evidence for something that's been going on. It could be a crucial key for the coppers that are investigating something. You just don't know. It's always worth a phone call. Always worth a phone call. So, what can we do to stop this happening? Well, look, it's sort of getting hard, right? Because fuckwits. Sorry. I mean, thieves are getting creative these days and are so very tech savvy, right? But if you have an older car, you can be creative when you install a kill switch. So I had a HX Holden once many moons ago, and I had a mate that was a Sparky, and he installed a kill switch on my transmission. Okay, so basically what that it did is when I had the switch flicked, the car would think it was in drive instead of park or neutral, and so while the ignition lights would still come on, the car wouldn't turn over. The switch itself was on top of the transmission, so it couldn't be tampered with, and to activate it, I had another switch hidden in the car, and it worked an absolute treat. So it was really good. I've spoken to insurance company. I've spoken about insurance companies rather before, and I'll have another episode coming soon where I do a comparison on what's best for you. But in this instance, like I said, the insurance company, which was CommonSure, were fantastic. Did the claim. The claim was already done, but got the claim number, made contact with them, and everything fell into place. It's just easy. It's just so easy, if you leave things to us at times, we can get it all done for you, and that's the difference between operators and drivers, right? And I'm not having a poke at anybody, take it as you will, but in my experience, drivers will do what they need to, providing it's easy, and they can get it done quickly. Whereas an operator will do what needs to be done regardless of the challenge, right? So regardless of the outcome or regardless of what needs to be done, they'll get the job completed. So, and further to that, CommonSure called me for other work as well. So I think it was about 3 months later, I got another one, which was also quite the challenge. I don't have any video or photos of it, unfortunately, but it was done to their satisfaction. That one only took me about 3 hours, so it wasn't too bad. If you've had something like this, and where your vehicle is stolen, I'd love to hear about it. If you want to post down in the comments, I think that'd be really cool, because sometimes when we share stories like this, it actually gives us a bit of empowerment, and it gives us, some people might have some great advice there on what to do to make sure that, your car doesn't get pinched, or steps you can take, to make sure that, if it's going to get stolen, well, we ain't going to make it easy. So please comment. I'd love to hear. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every little bit helps. It's great to see so many people that have subscribed and are throwing down a few comments here and there, so it's always great to talk to them. The next episode, as I said, is probably going to be on insurance company comparisons and how I feel about them. Now, these will be insurance companies that I've personally worked with, so I'll be able to give you my informed view of how they worked for me and how they could work for you. But until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you look in the description here, you'll find links to the videos for this particular recovery. So there's 2 of them, one where I found it and one where I recovered it. They go for about 5 minutes each, so they're not too long. Have a look at those. Let me know what you think. And again, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Keep it safe.